On this week's episode of What's Up Weekly, one club on campus is using letters of encouragement in order to uplift others through COVID-19.
And we speak with an IU student comedian who uses her voice for more than just cracking jokes. What's Up Weekly starts now.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of What's Up Weekly. I'm Noelle Friel.
And I'm Anna Black.
The Stone Age Institute is jazzing things up during the pandemic. The nonprofit group has started a new event, a popular culture live stream series. Every Sunday night, they virtually host a different performance for viewers to watch free of charge. This Sunday, it was the jazz duo Tuck and Patty. After their performance, audience members could attend a live question and answer session.
Fortunately, the band broke up and it was us. Cool. That's what ended up continuing.
Great. You rose from the dust of the band and carried on. That's wonderful.
Exactly.
The Sunday night popular culture live streams will continue until May 2nd. To reserve your virtual seat for these Sunday performances, head to stoneageinstitute.org.
A letter can go a long way in times of COVID, and a group of IU students are sending out something special. The Campus Cursive organization set out on a new project to write to a particular group who's feeling especially isolated. Take a look.
To know that people want to meet you and hear from you is a wonderful thing.
And that is exactly what one group of IU students did.
Writing letters to Cedarhurst Senior Living. And I picked them because I volunteered there, and I met this lady. She was super sweet. And it was really nice, being able to uplift the spirits of elderly people, and especially now when probably really lonely.
Due to the COVID-19 restrictions.
It's created a new set of struggles, a lot of the restrictions, and the hardest part is for our residents and of course our families, because a lot of those restrictions had to do with visitations.
I don't see my daughter and son face to face much anymore. We talk on the phone. But COVID makes a difference in the world.
We have people who've lost weight, maybe some depression, really withdrawn more because of the not being able to associate with their family or being, close with them because they're a big part of their life.
And this is when the letters came into play.
You're not alone, you're loved and cared for. We're going through this together. It makes me feel that there are people out there thinking of me. I like that because I get to be my age and sort of lose track of the younger generation.
Even though we have people with dementia, that connection with people is always so strong, and it's very important to their lives.
This is the first one I've received. Well, this letter means a great deal. It's a wonderful feeling.
It's a wonderful thing to make new friends.
A special friendship that will forever be bound by those cursive letters.
Thank you.
Sometimes we forget how a simple act can go such a long way. Their next project will be writing thank you letters to IU advisors. If you're interested in this club, you can visit beinvolved.indiana.edu and search Campus Cursive.
While writing letters can certainly help cure loneliness, so can making the people around you laugh. And that's just what IU student and comedian Amina Sohail is best at. So thank you so much for joining us in studio today to tell us a little bit about Ladies Night.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes, so how did Ladies Night Comedy get started and when did you join?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's actually one of the newer comedy groups on campus. It only started a few years before I came to IU. So she was a girl in another comedy group. Her name's Maggie Eichhoff. She's graduated a couple of years now. But she just felt that there was a lack of kind of available space for people to do stand-up, and especially she's heard things from other women who are trying to do stand-up in town, and they just felt like there wasn't really a supportive environment. So her and a couple of friends started this group, and I actually noticed my freshman year, it's really funny, it's almost like a movie. I was at the student involvement fair, and I just saw this sign in the back that said, Ladies Night Comedy, and I was like, oh, I'll go check it out. But by the time I like almost got near there, it started raining, and so then I got to the booth and they were gone. So then it was like just hunting them down, and I was waiting it out. Other groups were having auditions, but after I went to their first show, I was like, oh, I know that this is the place for me. So yeah. Yeah, and I've been in it for 3 years now. I joined my first semester freshman year. So.
And what made you want to get started in comedy?
Yeah, so I always joke with people that there's like people who like watching stand-up comedy. They like laughter, they like joy. People who like doing stand-up comedy like attention. So that for me was like a real reason why I did it. Not even a joke, but I always liked doing performative things at high school. I was in theater, I did speech, and I feel like I have a tendency to come from a very dramatic family. We're also really big storytellers, so all of those just combined together. And you know, I didn't come with the intention of doing stand-up here at IU, but I just kind of fell into it, and I really ended up loving it.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. You did speech in high school.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's really embarrassing. Like, I was like, went to nationals, and I was like, oh, yeah,
that's
awesome.
I did speech in high school.
Oh my gosh, we might have competed against each other.
Let me guess. Did you do humor?
What?
Did you do humor?
I tried, but I just don't have enough physicality to do it. Like, I feel like people who did humor also like lifted weights in between their sets because they're like really good at popping.
Exactly.
And I'm really good at like standing there and like, again, demanding attention. So
all of you viewers who do speech and debate know what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, I talk to the wall before every performance. Don't worry, I did it, but that's really glad. When you meet someone else who's from speech, it's like you connect
For
just
sure.
in a different way.
There's a bond. So would you say that comedy is kind of a male-dominated field?
Yeah, so I definitely mentioned that earlier, but it's really weird because, you know, you think that even in something like the arts and entertainment industry, there should be an even divide of men and women across the board, but in comedy, I think especially too, those power dynamics are still at play. And I think that's one of the really good things I love about Ladies Night is that, you know, we're punch-up kind of comedy where you're not really doing jokes at anyone's disparity or any group's disparity, but rather kind of noticing and observing how we view that kind of power and it plays out in our society. So definitely I would say that, like, you know, people always talk about in male-dominated fields, then when women comedians come in, it's like, oh, then they, you know, are hypersexual, or they only talk about, you know, what it's like to be a woman. But of course, as every woman knows, the experience of being a woman is, you know, completely different for each person. And, you know, it intersects with all the other identities you have. And comedy is subjective for a lot of people. So, yeah, I know that was long-winded and not really on the question. But in summation, yes, it's getting better, but it is still, I would say, predominantly male-dominated. Or, you know, men are really the ones who make their presence known in the comedy community.
So kind of with that being said, since it is a little more male-dominated, how does it feel to have that strong support system of women who are also interested in comedy like you?
Oh my gosh, that's like, it was like one of the biggest things I learned from college in general. And I think moving forward too, when I do stand up in the future, I don't think I'd, to be honest, be as comfortable doing stand up or be as good as, you know, as I am at stand up now without this group. So, you know, everyone in Ladies Night, we're there to support you in the first place. And I think it's really great because oftentimes, you know, we talk about, oh, stand up, you know, you're trying something new, you want to try something that, you know, might not go well or that might be a little scary. And Ladies Night is the greatest place to kind of experiment with it. You know, I've talked to people now who've graduated and now they do stand up like in big cities and they're professional comedians. And they said that being in Ladies Night actually is like performing in our shows is just a different experience because the people who come to the shows in the first place want to laugh. You know, and they also they like the jokes that we're doing in the sense that they align with our sense of humor, and oftentimes it's people's friends. And I think when you already have an IU community, it's even then so much easier when you have a group of women who are kind of like-minded and looking for the same goals, and we all want to be funny together, and we're able to pursue that goal, you know, I can't believe I'm saying it again, but all together. Yeah.
Definitely. And so lastly, where can people find you on social media? If people are interested, how can they join Ladies
Oh,
Night?
yeah, of course, we have to do the plug. So,
Yes.
You can look us up on Twitter and Instagram. We're at Ladies Night Comedy. IU, I think, is the full underscore. Honestly, you can just look up Ladies Night. There aren't really many other groups like us, but we are going to have a show at the end of the month. right before the semester wraps up, and we'll be posting about it on our social media as well. So yeah, looking forward to hopefully seeing you guys there. If not, that's okay.
Oh, yes.
We'll have more shows, of course, in the fall too.
And where will that show take place?
It'll probably be on campus.
Okay.
We haven't found out the exact room yet, but again,
Posted to the socials.
posted the socials.
Got it.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much again for joining us. It was so great meeting you.
Yeah,
Yes,
of course.
it's so nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me on. I love talking about it.
Coming up, a movie starring Will Smith is set to move production out of Georgia because of a new controversial voting law.
And the interesting combination of vaccinations and Broadway is making headlines in New York this week. That and more on Trending Topics after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Something new is taking the Broadway stage in New York City, but it's not what you think.
Some of the city's political figures and Broadway stars celebrated the opening of Broadway's vaccine site in Times Square. Among these people included the city's mayor, Bill de Blasio, and Hamilton's Lin-Manuel Miranda. At the opening, Miranda emphasized that the vaccination clinic for Broadway workers includes everyone. He said, quote, "And if you worked on Broadway or you worked off Broadway, you work in the theater, if you worked in the wardrobe department, if you were a stage manager, if you're in front of a house staff, you're an usher, you're welcome to this incredible facility on 47th Street, which I've just toured."
Lin-Manuel Miranda will not be throwing away his shot this time, but taking it and encouraging others to do the same.
One restaurant that has become a staple for people in Colorado and everywhere might have to shut its doors.
Denver's Casa Bonita has been a site for family fun for over 46 years. The restaurant found itself in the spotlight when it was featured on an episode of the hit series South Park. Casa Bonita continues to attract customers with its large arcade, 30-foot waterfall, and cliff divers. Unfortunately, it had to close down in March 2020 when COVID-19 hit. Now, the future of the restaurant still remains in question. On April 6th, Casa Bonita filed for bankruptcy.
There is still hope for the place that is beloved by so many, and this love can be seen by supporters who have started a GoFundMe page. The proceeds will be on behalf of Casa Bonita.
Actor Will Smith and director Antoine Fuqua will move production of their upcoming film Emancipation from Georgia over its controversial voting law.
Last month, Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp signed a law that shortened the duration of absentee voting, requires absentee voters to produce identification, limits the use of drop boxes, and makes it a crime to hand out free food or water to voters standing in line. Multiple lawsuits have been filed in response to the law.
Emancipation was scheduled to begin filming on June 21st. In a press release, the two said, quote, "We cannot in good conscience provide economic support to a government that enacts regressive voting laws."
And finally, we have to talk about Taylor Swift's recorded album, 2008's Fearless.
It includes 6 songs from the vault that almost made the 2008 album. Swift is in the process of re-recording her earlier albums after losing the rights to her master recordings. A music executive acquired the master recordings of her first 6 albums from her former label for $300 million nearly 2 years ago, despite her objections.
She was 18 when she recorded Fearless, her second studio album. Now at 31, this one is called Fearless, Taylor's version. And that's what's up this week. Tune in next week for more local and entertainment news.
Be sure to follow us on social media. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at iUS TV News. For What's Up Weekly, I'm Noelle Friel.
And I'm Anna Black. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.